Welcome to the U.S. Commercial Service Market Brief. It's a special edition today from Singapore. Now, Singapore was one of the Asia tigers, or lions, but recently it has had some difficulties, partly due to the global economic slowdown and more recently the SARS outbreak. However, Singapore is still an important trading partner of the United States. It's our 11th largest partner, and recently Congress approved the free trade agreement between the United States and Singapore. It has many advantages of doing business here, and one of them is its location. Over there, for example, is the Indonesian island of Sumatra, and in that direction, about an hour away, is Malaysia. Now, together, these two markets are quite large in terms of their population, and Singapore is seen as a base of operations for U.S. companies to enter these more populous places. So today we're going to explore the opportunities in the Singapore market. We have two guests today. One of them is U.S. Ambassador Frank Lavin, and the other is Senior Commercial Officer George Ruffner. So come on with me and let's explore the Singapore market. Ambassador, why should a U.S. company consider doing business in Singapore?
I'll tell you what's exciting about the Singapore market is this is the market in Asia that is most similar to the U.S. market. So it's a strategic market, not because of its size, it's a mid-sized market, but because of its ease of entry. So even if you're a reasonably smallish U.S. company, it's pretty easy to do business here. British commercial code, strong legal system, English is the dominant language. So it's a very inviting locale for U.S. companies that are just starting to enter the Asian market.
In addition to the English language, what other kinds of benefits are here that a U.S. company might find familiar and reassuring?
Well, there's a very high standard of living here. It's a prosperous country. But that's important for several reasons. One, a wide range of American products are going to fit very naturally into this market. If you walk into a supermarket here, you're going to see U.S. products. If you go into a movie theater here, you're going to see U.S. movies. So it's easier to adjust your product for this kind of market. Two, it also means that for the person doing the business, the businessman, businesswoman, whether you're living here or traveling through here, you're not going to be deprived. It's the opposite of a hardship post. You're going to find all of the comforts at home here in Singapore.
We now have a free trade agreement with Singapore, but the tariffs were already fairly low. What are the other advantages of the free trade agreement?
I wouldn't dismiss the advantages of those tariff reductions because sometimes our profits on sales are a few percentage points. So if you can add an extra percentage or two to it, that's not unimportant. But beyond those reductions in tariffs, we're looking at very strong intellectual property rights enforcement. Singapore will have the strongest IPR regime in Asia, perhaps in the world, outside the U.S. For the IPR industries, pharmaceuticals, software, entertainment, games, movies, music, this is the place then to do a lot of your R&D, your customization, your localization. When you're preparing a product for the market in India, for example, or China, you might want to think about doing it here because the local talent speaks those languages and you have that IPR protection. IPR is important. Financial services is an important area. We're going to see U.S. banks and financial houses offer roughly the same services here that they do back in the U.S. So if you've got a set of products and activities that you're undertaking with your U.S. financial house in the U.S., odds are that you can do precisely those same activities here in Singapore. Those are just two ways in addition to those tariff barriers that this FTA is important.
Very close by here are Malaysia and Indonesia, much larger markets than Singapore. What are the advantages of using Singapore as a hub for U.S. business operations in the region?
Interesting, the Southeast Asian countries, ASEAN, 10 countries, comprise about 500 million people. Rather significant market. In fact, The ASEAN market is the third largest overseas market for the U.S., just after Europe and Japan. So rather consequential. Singapore is the logistics hub, the communications hub, the IT hub, the financial service hub, and the management hub for that region. Most American companies that operate in this region use Singapore as their platform for management because it has the best connectivity to the region, but also, as I mentioned earlier, it's got the best standard of living, best quality of life, the region too, so you can enjoy U.S. standards, if you will, and still service a wide range of countries in this region.
We read a lot about the influence of China in the region, a giant sucking sound of sorts with a lot of jobs and manufacturing going to the north. Is this likely to continue? And if so, what is the competitive advantage of this region?
Well, we do hear that question a lot. I think it's very important to distinguish between relative shifts in investment and absolute patterns in investment. In relative shifts, the China point is absolutely correct. China gets a larger share of the overall global foreign investment pie, no question about it. But in absolute terms, foreign investment, U.S. FDI, continues to pour into Southeast Asia, into Singapore and the other markets down here. The point is, U.S. businesses find this region attractive. They have, in recent years, found China relatively more attractive. So U.S. companies are entering here and also entering China. So there's two things going on at once.
A number of U.S. companies have recently expressed to me concerns about coming here to the region because fear of SARS. Can you give us an update on the situation with SARS here in Singapore?